Hello my lovelies, and welcome back to Allotment of the Dead. And I thought today I'd show you a few of the jobs that I'm doing, just to try and get things ready for next year, and to hopefully, I guess, show you for a change rather than just seemingly talking a lot, as to kind of what I'm doing. Because I know a lot of the things that I do a tour, and you'll have seen that I've done something and I haven't really shown you how I've done it or why I've done it and those sort of things. So I thought, okay, this time I'll show you some of the things I'm doing, and we'll put them together in a bit of a compilation. It's going to be kind of probably over numerous days, but hopefully you'll get an idea as to, like I say, some of the jobs that we need to do. Right, so this is the tree lilies that were absolutely gorgeous this year. I'll put up a nice little picture in the corner as to what they look like this year. Really massive blooms on them, absolutely fantastic smell to them, but now they're looking like they are really past their best now. So it's time to cut them back. You want to cut them back when the things start to go a bit hollow, when the leaves and things are starting to be brown, and you need really to chop them down to the ground at this point. So that's what we'll do. My Japanese pruning shears. So we'll chop things down, low down. So these are all things we'll have to get rid of. Again, okay. Probably could have left this one a bit longer, but should be okay. Again, chop it down as low as you can, kind of level with the soil really. Okay, changes the aspect somewhat. I think I pointed out throughout the season earlier that I had this self-seeded buddleia that I had growing. I think I'm going to leave it and just see what it looks like next year, see if I get any flowers off it. If it's a nice colour, we'll see what it looks like. The other thing to do at this point is if there's any perennial weeds, like I guess the dandelions and things like that, you get these as well. Give it a good weeding, get rid of anything you don't want in there. Okay, then I'll leave the leaves on there though, because they'll be okay. And then what we'll need to do is give it a nice mulch with either some nice new compost, or if you've got some homemade compost, that's just as good as well. Again, just cover over those bits that you've just chopped. And let's just say you don't need to do any more watering at this point, just leave it as it is. The other thing I'll do is give it a nice covering of straw. So this will help to keep the frost away from the tubers. Hopefully they'll be fine. The lilies generally need that period of cold weather that it gets over that winter period to go dormant, and also to get itself ready for the following season flowering. It really does well after a nice cold snap usually. So that's what we're doing there. Okay. Right, the other one we'll do is the tiger lilies. Again, we'll chop them back. I think that's a bindweed, right? Yeah, bindweed. Again, bit of a weeding. If there's anything in there you need to take out. Let's stick that there for now. Nice covering of new compost. Now this is the compost I used on the potatoes, so I'm repurposing it really. It's only really as a mulch, doesn't need to be a lot of nutrient in there really. Okay, and then again a little coating of straw on the top, and you can use animal bedding or straw, hay, those sort of things. Just got to remember that with some of the things that you cover things with, there's going to be a certain amount of seeds in them, so potentially you're going to have maybe hay or straw or wheat, barley, that sort of thing growing in your pots, which is what I've got in the other one up there. So that is the lilies sorted for next year. Let's just move that one out of the way a minute, and we'll put that there. Right, that's the first lot of lilies sorted. Let's move the buddleia around a bit so you can see. It's going to be a nice buddleia bush, that, I think. But we'll see what that looks like next year, hopefully with some flowers. I might prune it back a little bit in February, and we'll see how it looks. Right, so that's lilies sorted, at least at the head of the plot. Still got the lilies to do next to the alley house. We'll do those. Right. See you on the next one. It's raining a little bit today. So this is kind of the day after the sorting the lilies out, and decided I need to do something with the absolutely gorgeous Sarcococcas here. So these are a winter flowering plant, and they are absolutely gorgeous in terms of the smell. It's almost like a vanilla-y kind of smell. So this is the Sarcococca winter gem, and they're just about starting to come into flower now, and I'm seeing already that these plants are looking a little bit bedraggled, partly because of the pot they're in. So what I'm planning on doing is potting these on into this nice big terracotta pot we've got here, in the hope that that will give them a bit more space for the roots to grow out and things like that. Also gives me opportunity to give me a bit of blood, fish and bone as well when I get them in here. Now the other Sarcococca I've got is the one here, which has got berries on it, and it's got flowers on it, and it's going to be hopefully really nice. But again, it's got the larger pot, so it's able to spread its roots a bit more. So I'm going to try and put both of these particular plants inside this pot here, and see what happens. I might need to pot them on again next year because they do make quite a nice bush, but I kind of, if I can, I want to try and keep them next to the alley house here, because that smell going in and out of the alley house will be really nice. Right, so I'm just going to use this compost that I had from when I did the potatoes, repurpose it with a little bit of the bloodfish and bone. It should make quite a nice potting mix. It's kind of sat for a bit as well, so there's worms and things in here as well. It's amazing how the worms manage to get into these compost piles. Okay, let's see if I can tip a bit more out. Okay, the one thing I don't want is stray potatoes in there. Okay, right, so we'll get a bit of the bloodfish and bone into here. I'm going to say we don't need much, just a bit, just to keep it going. It is as I say, a winter flowering plant, so it's going to need a little bit of nutrients over the winter period to get it growing and keep it growing. Okay, right, let's see what the plants are looking like here. So you can see they're quite heavily root bound. So I'm probably going to need to split these into separate pots at some point. There is also kind of bits where it's grown away from the main plant as well, which is kind of nice to see. It proves that at least the plant is trying to keep itself alive. But what we need to do at this point is try and separate these two plants and get rid of any weeds that might be in there. Okay, so best tool for the job. Got a nice serrated edge on the hori. Okay, well, we'll just knock a bit of the, it's actually almost completely roots. So what we'll do is we'll put these side by side now, I guess, and top them up with a bit more soil. Wow. I think I am probably definitely going to need to pot these up again next year. I kind of noticed they weren't doing so well though. They got this kind of pale leaves and things, and I have fed them over the season, but they've been a little bit neglected in some respects as well, even though they're right next to the alley house here. Let's give them plenty. Okay. So another little tiny potato there. You don't want to introduce potatoes into here, but there we go. Right, and the other thing I'm going to do is top dress these with a little bit of strulch. Ugh. Okay, so that leaves me with this nice, that's deteriorated, we'll chuck that away. Okay, so that's left me with this really nice pot. Will it go back on here? Yes, it will. Okay, so we'll leave that there. I think it's going to be sturdy enough. Right, don't know how many of these are still actually working, but we'll stick those in as well. Right, so that's the Sarcococca re-potted on. These were fluorescent pebbles. I don't know whether they work or not. Let's leave them there and we'll find out. Okay, right. The other thing I need to do is top dress the lily of the valley. And again, we'll give them a nice top dressing here of the strorch. Okay, so now's your time to buy your daffodils, your tulips, if you're that interested in tulips. I don't like tulips, never have liked tulips. But now is the time to look for your tulips and your daffodils and get those in. I'm after some more winter anemones because I don't think mine really have come back up again this year. Not sure why. It's a shame. But during the course of my little foray into getting that pot basically at the garden centre the other day, Blue Diamond garden centre in Melbix, I think it was called, out up towards Sutton Coldfield. Again, really nice garden centre, and I found these two little plants that they look a little bit worse for wear, a little bit knackered. But these are something I've been looking for a while, something I tried to grow as a seed last year, and that's called Vinca Minor. The other name for this is periwinkle, so this is the lesser periwinkle. Again, a toxic plant, which is the reason why I was looking for it. This isn't the most toxic of the Vinca varieties. The Madagascan periwinkle, which is something that I've just bought some seeds for, hopefully I'm going to try and grow it next year, is more toxic than these are. These are mildly toxic if you eat them, but the Madagascan periwinkle is toxic all parts, so you've got to wear your gloves and everything when you're playing with them. But interestingly, that particular plant, the Madagascan periwinkle, is the one they use for making vincristin and vinblastin. So these are two really strong, really toxic chemotherapy drugs, and you know, the plant kingdom have been making these sort of medicinal drugs for years, whether that's paracetamol or aspirin off the bark of a tree. You know, these sort of things have been made in nature for hundreds and thousands of years, and we've been able to use so many different plants to actually improve our health services, improve our well-being, and give ourselves a fighting chance when you get things like cancer. Because I say those chemotherapy drugs, although they're not very specific, are very, very good at basically, well, the job they do, which is basically trying to kill all proliferating cells. So when you end up with chemotherapy, you end up losing your hair, your fingernails deteriorate, you get ulcers in your mouth, all of those sort of things. So it's all of those particular cells in your body that are rapidly reproducing. They're the things that unfortunately get targeted by these drugs, and hence why your hair falls out, because again, your hair is something that grows quite quickly. So that's one for next year. But these two, I bought a couple of plants. These were reduced from the garden centre, basically because they generally look their best during kind of early spring into summer. Nice little purple to blue to purple flowers. So this one's called Illumination. Again, the really nice looking flowers. So what we're going to do is we've taken the Sarcococca out of this, and we're going to put these two into here. Basically these plants are ground cover plants, so you buy them for I don't know, under a tree or something like that. They're very good at kind of all of those areas, maybe in woodland habitats, or if you've got a tree that you're trying to figure out what to plant underneath it. Periwinkle is one of those really good plants to do that. Also, yeah, winter aconites and all those sort of things as well will also kind of fit that purpose. Right, again, this is some more of the potato fertilizer I had left. So again, we'll fill up the pot, and we'll get these so they hang over the front. Again, they're quite pot bound. Again, I'll probably need to pop these on, but just to, I guess, get them in the ground at the moment, which is kind of what I wanted to do, we'll put them into here for now. Right, let me just, I'm going to add a bit of blood, fish and bone to that particular compost, and then we'll use that to top up. Okay. So your periwinkles are evergreen most of the year, or all the year, hence why they're called evergreen. So these should still be pretty good plants. They should still survive quite well. Right, let's fill up. Okay, they're not looking particularly good at this time of year. Let's just separate them out a bit. Right, we'll also top dress some of the bare earth a little bit with the strulch. Okay. Okay, right, so Vinca Minor, the common periwinkle. As I say, we will try and get the Madagascan periwinkle for next year, just to add to the poison plant collection. But yeah, this one should be nice. Let's put a nice little thing in the back there. Not that I'll forget what this is. I'm usually pretty good at remembering plants now. as long as it's as long as it's a different plant than what I deal with normally. Right, so we'll put that to one side. Okay, so a couple of bits of potted on, and we'll carry on. It's raining at the moment, so there's not a massive amount that I'm going to be able to do down here today. Inside the polytunnels I'll be able to do some bits and pieces, but we'll keep going and keep doing a few bits and pieces. Right, all the best guys, take care, bye bye.